This is the worst time to film. Look at the sun. There seems to be a lot of news coverage on Amber Heard right now in regards to Australia, whether or not they're going to extradite her, whether or not there's going to be a trial, whether or not she's going to face jail time for possible perjury. And I wasn't really sure if there's any credence behind any of this. However, Law and Crime Network started reporting on it. And there were actually some footages of Australia higher ups talking about how Amber Heard is actually still being investigated. It's also been revealed that the FBI are working with Australian authorities about this matter as well. So what does Amber Heard have to say about this? Well, the only thing that I have access to is what she said during the UK trial, and she actually does explain why this happened, how, and who was at fault. Let's read that together. We're not going to read the whole thing. I'll make a separate video for that, but let's just talk about some of the key highlights that I thought were interesting. Right now, she's being questioned by Johnny Depp's lawyer, and Johnny Depp's lawyer says, I'm going to suggest to you that you were told by Mr. Murphy that under no uncertain terms, you cannot take the dogs in Australia, where you're not. Amber Heard replies, I was told many things when we were trying to figure out whether they could travel or not. I was shooting movies and this happened over a span of maybe 8 months. So I was told we might be able to. I was told not yet. I was told you have to wait a different day. It was quite confusing. And then Johnny Depp's lawyer replies, I was simply asking you. The question was, it was quite clear to you by Mr. Murphy that you could not take the dogs into Australia. And you're saying there were mixed messages? Okay. Is that your answer? Yes. So Amber Heard was saying that, she was so busy filming during the 8 months that she was going back and forth on these emails, and she was just kind of confused why they were still on the topic of whether or not the dogs can come to Australia or not. She was just kind of like not really, she was like in the loop, but at the same time, she was like just confused about what's going on. However, on Kevin Murphy's witness statement, he does talk about the whole dog Australia smuggling thing. And in his witness statement, he attaches the emails between him and Amber Heard, and I think like maybe some other people. Let's take a look at those emails. Let's see if you guys think that the emails were possibly confusing. March 29, 2015, this is Kevin Murphy to Amber Heard. Hi, because of the paperwork process, combination of vet visits and permit application, for pet travel to Australia, the time frame for the dogs to be able to travel there was always the end of April. We started the process quite some time ago. I think Jay, Johnny Depp, is returning around the 10th, 12th. I believe the dogs are not able to enter Australia till the 27th. Let me know if you have any additional questions. That seems pretty clear to me, but let's keep reading. Amber Heard replies, shit, okay. We're out of options then? Because I don't know what else to do. Kevin Murphy replies, morning, ... Would you allow them to fly cargo? ? So it seems like I think the emails are like jumbled up. Okay, this one says date Saturday, March 28th. So this was sent, I'm assuming, a day before these emails. But let's read it. Hi, ... Just making sure you know that the dogs will not be able to fly commercial in the passenger compartment to Australia. They would have to go cargo. They do not make exceptions for service dogs to Australia. Just want to make sure you understood. It has been a very complex process thus far. The all-in cost would be around $10K, not including flight. Just wanted you to know. Per our last discussion, read the dogs travel, I should proceed, ... right? They would be able to travel at the end of April within 10-day quarantine upon arrival, delivery to the house somewhere around May 7th. Okay. This is on March 30th. This is from Kevin Murphy to Amber Heard. Hi, I will have to continue the process for the dogs if they are going. There will be some non-refundable charges. Can you please advise, please? Thanks. Amber Heard replies the next day. I'm sorry, but as understood it, they weren't able to travel with Jay. So she even admitted right there that she understood that they wouldn't be able to travel. And since they couldn't travel with him, they won't be going at all. No? So what exactly needs to be continued? Exactly. And then Kevin Murphy writes, we never concluded the original conversation other than you saying no to cargo. If that means that the dogs will not travel, then I will discontinue the travel paper process. Thanks, Kevin Murphy. Amber Heard replies, yeah, unless there's another way to get them there or get them on the plane with Jay. I can't send them to cargo. It's too dangerous. Kevin Murphy is a straight to the point communicator. There's like no fluff or anything. And it seems that when she replied, she seems to have understood that the dogs can't go unless they're going to do cargo and there's going to be a quarantine afterwards. Here are some pictures of Pistol and Boo. I'm not too sure which one. Is that the chonky one? Now we have a text message from Steven Duders, I think, to Kevin Murphy. This is on April 20th. Amber knew about the dog situation, right? They've landed, ... Haven't heard anything yet. Dogs are in. Kevin Murphy replies, yes, she knows. And then this is with Johnny Depp's sister, Christy Dembrowski. And he writes to Christy, hi, just an FYI, they took the dogs without the proper paperwork. Johnny Depp's lawyer asked, so you were told by Kevin Murphy, who had been doing quite a lot of work on this, was not able to get the documentation ready in time. And here is how Amber Heard replies. No, as you can see from the small amount of correspondence that you have just read, this was a process that has been going on for about 6 months, and I was out of the country filming a movie, so I was not even there with Johnny. So it's quite confusing to me what was going on, since I said in one of my emails to him, I do not understand why we're so emailing about this if there is a no-go. If that means they simply cannot, and often, as in my experience with Johnny, if Johnny wanted something, it happened. We found a way to make it work, and he told me when I landed, I was only in LA for a matter of hours before we got on the plane for his movie, on his flight, with his crew, with his staff, for his movie, and I assume everything had been taken care of when he said it was all taken care of and I had no reason to get any clarity on it. So that right there, obviously, she's like throwing Johnny Depp under the bus. She's saying like, oh, Johnny's the one that probably wanted it done, and what Johnny wants, Johnny gets. Now, the lawyer's going to respond back with this. I'm going to suggest to you that it was your decision. All these messages are between you and other people acting on your behalf on this matter, are they not? Now, of course, she's going to reply, Johnny is the boss. The lawyer's going to say, you are the boss. Are you not, Ms. Heard? She said, I didn't call any of the shots. This is Johnny's plane, Johnny's staff, Johnny's crew for Johnny's travel. I don't know if I really believe that, but, let's give her the benefit of the doubt for now. Now, she said that her and Johnny both filled out the same entry cards, that she both signed the same thing, yet she was the only one that took the charges because if Johnny got charges, it would further compromise Pirates, which was already compromised. And why was Pirates already compromised? Well, because Johnny Depp had the tip of his finger sliced off, and it was alleged that Amber Heard threw a bottle at his finger, and that's what caused it. So he had to leave Australia, go to LA and get emergency surgery and a bunch of other things that happened, infection, all that stuff. Now, I thought it was interesting that the lawyer replied back, Ms. Heard, that is yet another occasion when I asked a question and you used it as an opportunity to say something negative about Mr. Depp. Damn. The burn. Now, I could have sworn I read somewhere that Amber Heard did admit and say that she was the one that filled out the entry cards. When the lawyer starts drilling about these entry cards, that's when I started getting really, really skeptical about her story. And I was already skeptical to begin with because of Kevin Murphy's emails that backs up his story and shows that there's no confusion on his end or on her end. But it's the entry cards that kind of just sealed it for me. Let's start with the entry cards. There are two things that came to my attention. First, she said the entry card, yes, the entry cards include that there are no illegal plants or animals being brought in. So her excuse for that was, well, typically when we fly to like America, how it's usually done, there's a separate form where you declare your animals. And so the reason why I said there was no animals or plants on the first card is because I assumed there was going to be a second card. Now, to me, does that really make sense? No. You would still declare, yes, I have an animal. And then if there was a supplemental form, you would still fill that out. No? And then even if, let's go with her version of the stories. It's not like she ever even filled out the supplement form to begin with, because it seems like she knows that there's a supplemental form, but that form was never filled out. And she was also told about the quarantine as well, that, when the dogs go in, they have to quarantine for a couple of days. That didn't happen as well. Unless I'm mistaken, and the dogs only go through quarantine if they're flying in cargo. A little minor thing that I wanted to point out, she said, so I mistakenly, so did Johnny, filled out the form thinking it was a separate paperwork that needed to be filled out to indicate the dogs were traveling with as pets. She said, we both filled out these forms. I don't know if I really believe Johnny Depp filling it out because, as you guys remember, he is right-handed. His middle finger was cut off. He was in a cast, soft cast, whatever the heck it's called. And I don't really believe that he was actually even able to fill out the forms. I'm pretty sure it was Amber Heard that did it. And having trusted his wife, he probably just scribbled the signature on there. But going on to my second point, she says, so I took the charges and I accepted that I filled out the form incorrectly and that it represented a falsehood. Now, this is where the lawyer is like, wait a second. I think the charge was knowingly making a false statement. And you agreed that you knew it was false because you had a dog with you. Now, I get really annoyed reading the UK transcripts because whenever there's like a hard question being pressed on Amber Heard, I feel like the freaking judge always like butts in and was like, wait a second, what are you guys talking about? Wait a second, what's going on? Wait a second. He like always cuts off. And it takes the pressure off Amber Heard like momentarily. So, this is the judge is like, oh, which part are you guys talking about? 2.1, 201B, the top, the bottom? Okay, let me see. It's like when you're watching an anime and then all of a sudden a filler episode pops up and you're just like, god damn it. So the lawyer says here, you knew you did not have the paperwork, otherwise you would not have ticked the box, would you? Amber replies, no, I thought because we had that paperwork that I should tick the box. The lawyer says it is complete nonsense to suggest that by ticking a box saying you were not bringing animals in, nobody would do that if, and then she gets cut off by Amber Heard. So what I want to know is, what does this form say? Does it say, I am not bringing any illegal animals and plants in? Or does it just say I'm not bringing any plants and animals in? If it said that I'm not bringing any illegal plants and animals into the country, then the story that Amber Heard is saying could make sense. Because, if she really thought she had the right paperwork, which I don't think she did, if she had thought that she had the right paperwork, then, her ticking, like, oh yeah, I'm bringing animals, but they're not illegal. They're not illegal plants, they're not illegal dogs, cats, whatever. But if the lawyer is saying that on this paperwork, it didn't say illegal animals, it just says, I'm not bringing animals or plants in, then the story that Amber Heard presents doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you guys why. So I have traveled before, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if the countries are the same on their declarations form, but I'm pretty sure that the wording for the declaration form goes something like this. I declare that I'm not bringing any animals in. So if that's what it says on the Australia paperwork, it really doesn't make sense for Amber to tick the box whether or not she has the paperwork. Now, of course, the lawyer, being as sharp as they are, and I don't think you even have to be sharp, to be honest, to really pick at this, but the lawyer brings up and says, you knew you did not have the paperwork, otherwise you would not have ticked that box, would you? Amber Heard replies, no, I thought because we had that paperwork, I should tick that box. Which doesn't make sense. So do you guys get what she's trying to say? It doesn't make sense to me, to this lawyer, and, to some of you guys probably, or most of you guys, that on the form, Amber Heard ticked a box that said, I am not bringing any plants, I am not bringing any dogs. She ticked that. And the lawyer was like, why did you do that if you thought that you had the right paperwork? And she's like, well, I ticked it because usually there's a supplement form that goes into the details further about bringing pets in. But if you had the paperwork, even if there was a supplement form, you still wouldn't tick that box because you did bring an animal with you. My gut feeling from reading this, it felt like a 5-year-old trying to lie, but at the same time, they're just telling a really horrible lie, and you're just like, ah. Now, from this point on, it really does get a lot more messier because when Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were caught having the dogs in, really dumb way of having the dogs getting caught, by the way, because where were the dogs? At the groomers. It is so unnecessary to even bring your dogs to a groomer. You can just do it yourself. Like, bring your dogs to a groomer when you've already illegally brought your dogs in. And it's not like the dog had like an emergency vet thing, medical condition, where it had to be exposed to potentially other dogs and other people. But it was just going to the groomer. So I don't know. This is assuming that Amber Heard knew what she was doing and that she, smuggled these dogs in. And then afterwards, like, yeah, let's just bring the dogs to the groomers. Who cares? F Australia. I don't know. It's pretty shitty to me. Okay, but like I said, it does get a lot messier because when they were caught, Amber Heard had Kevin Murphy sign a declaration form saying that, like, oh, Amber Heard thought all the paperwork was done, but we realized that her previous assistant, Kate James, that was fired, never actually completed all the paperwork for Pistol and Boo. And so Kevin Murphy, after Johnny Depp and Amber Heard breaks up, he was like, well, I'm going to break my silence on this because you know what? I perjured. I knew that Amber Heard went to Australia without the proper paperwork. She was liaising with me. It was not Kate James' fault. And he said that initially, Amber Heard and her lawyer, her entertainment lawyer, something like that, they were trying to get Kate James to sign a declaration saying that, oh, it was her fault. But, they weren't really sure if they wanted to ask her directly. They were going to get Kevin to do it. And then Kate James ended up not getting that, that communication. And so Kevin Murphy was, by coercion of Amber Heard, I believe he said, he was the one that made a declaration saying, falsely saying that the reason why Amber Heard brought her dogs is because she didn't know they didn't have the proper paperwork, when he in fact did know that she lied about that. And so he came out and exposed her on that, and it is just so messy. Oh God. Let me see if I can find the emails for that. Okay, so I think this is an email from Amber Heard's entertainment lawyer. It says, Amber, if you look at my email below on October 9th, I responded to Carl's email when he said that he thought you can get Kate to sign a statement. That would be great. Therefore, if you could get Kate to sign a statement, it could be helpful. I don't know what your relationship with her is at this time since you fired her. You have to be careful that she will cooperate and will not go public if you ask her not to be truthful. Yikes. Let's see what Amber Heard says. Marty, I'm waiting to hear back from you before I reach out to Kevin to liaise with Kate. Amber Heard. All right, and then this email says, great, I will procure that statement ASAP. This is Amber Heard to Martin, Carl, and I guess maybe Kevin Murphy. I will procure the statement ASAP and send it to you guys. Anything in specific that will be extra important and helpful. Please let me know if there's anything that I should specifically ask for. Also, I spoke to Kevin and he said that he sent you guys all the evidence of the dog's numerous international travels. The only thing that we're missing is evidence of the process being initiated, however, not completed, and therefore the dogs weren't taking on the trip. That is harder to prove, obviously, since it involves documenting something that didn't happen. However, since I know we attempted to bring them at least once before the Australian trip, I can ask Kate to include that in her statement if that would be helpful. ? And then they replied back, that would be great. So you know what? With all the evidence against Amber Heard, it just doesn't look good for her at all. Now let's read Kevin Murphy's declaration statement. He says, as stated paragraph 9 of my first witness statement on or about October 2015, Ms. Heard requested I make a false statement regarding the dog's illegal entrance into Australia. When I expressed that I was extremely uncomfortable with this, Ms. Heard said to me, well, I want your help on this. I wouldn't want you to have a problem with your job. It became very apparent to me that Ms. Heard was threatening my job stability unless I cooperated with providing a declaration that supported her false account for the Australia proceedings. So there is no evidence for this. There's no evidence to back this. I guess it was to him. It was just probably verbal. It was apparent to me that Ms. Heard was threatening my job stability unless I cooperated with providing a declaration that supported her false account of the Australian proceedings. Because of this, I felt extreme pressure to cooperate despite knowing it would involve being untruthful. Kevin Murphy continues to write, on 13 October 2015, I signed a declaration for the Australian proceedings that discuss the circumstances in which Ms. Heard brought her and Ms. Depp's dogs into Australia. This declaration was prepared by Ms. Heard's U.S. lawyer in this matter. That declaration contains statements that are not entirely truthful. It was not true that Ms. Kate James, Ms. Heard's assistant, was responsible for the paperwork and not completed it, and that this was the reason why Ms. Heard traveled the dogs to Australia without the necessary paperwork. The true position is that I was responsible for the paperwork which I could not obtain in time, and that Ms. Heard was fully aware of this in advance of traveling to Australia with the dogs. Now, the crazy thing about this is if you don't believe Amber Heard, if you believe that she perjured, if you believe she smuggled the dogs, if you think she lied about Kate James, the crazy thing is, and let's say if you also believe that she was the one that threw the bottle at Johnny Depp's fingertips, the crazy thing is that Johnny Depp had to be a part of this dog apology video. Assuming if you guys also thought that he had nothing to do with this whole dog stuff. But it's just so crazy how he... You believe all of that. It's like, it's so crazy that this guy, Johnny Depp, went through so much. And then here he is sitting side by side next to his wife making this really crappy dog apology video about smuggling the dogs to Australia when, you know, he may have not had any part in it at all. But if you guys haven't already, go watch that video. It's just so cringy to watch. And poor guy was probably sitting there, his fingertip missing. Anyway, so that's what I got so far. Again, I'll read the whole court transcript in a separate video. But in terms of whether or not I believe she should be jailed for this, like maybe barred from coming back to Australia. Maybe she has to come to Australia and do some community service or something like that. But damn, like I think you can face up to, was it like 14 years for perjury? That's pretty damn steep. And she just had a kid too. So I don't know. Maybe that's like my soft spot saying that like, oh, you know, I think jail time might be a little too much. But I do understand with everything that's going on. And I do understand that, you know, after this happened, she was mocking, what was he, like the prime minister at the time? He was making jabs and making jokes about it, not really taking it seriously. And then she did lie and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe a couple of months. I don't know. Community service or just don't ever come back to Australia type of thing. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on this and see what's going on with the whole Australia thing. It seems like the FBI are working with Australia right now about this and investigating it. And yeah, we'll see what happens. And then we'll also see if will Johnny Depp also get in trouble as well, and what other evidence is gonna pop up. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a different. Damn it, the sun is back now. I hate the sun. I'll see you guys in a different video. Again, feel free to stop by on my live streams. I do stream sometimes on this platform, YouTube, but I mostly stream on twitch.tv/corkysun with 2 ways. I'll see you guys there, and have a good one. Bye.